3 million players. Remember, guys, 3 million players for Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's a hit. Chuds got owned once again. You can't stop us. It's so great. It's so great, in fact, that Ubisoft has to close another studio. Oh, big shock on that one. Ubisoft Leamington officially closes as layoffs accelerate and Tencent restructuring looms. Because, yeah, last time we talked about this, well, not quite the last time we talked about this, but a little bit before, when the Tencent deal was announced this time last week, yeah, Tencent came in and bought 25% of a brand new subsidiary of Ubisoft, a brand new subsidiary that includes like the only 3 IPs that theoretically could make some money for the company, leaving the other 75% of the company in total limbo, meaning that, okay, cool, you'd want to take all of your profitable IPs, okay, Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, and Far Cry, leaving the rest of the stuff, which you would go ahead and completely and totally struggle to name, and if you could, you would just go, oh right, that last game that came out totally flopped, okay? So Tencent was very smart about doing this, obviously. It's like, you know, one of the biggest companies in the world for a reason. They come in, you know, with just a little modest billion-dollar investment, 25%. But then when restructuring comes around and then you figure out, okay, after all the layoffs, after all of the studio closures, that 25% immediately becomes a much larger percentage in the grand scheme of things without them having to spend an additional dime. And then you also take a look at the double-digit stock prices completely and totally drop, and now with the entire stock market just in total flux, Ubisoft's evaluation continues to drop further and further, so that 25% that you bought on for $1 billion could quickly become 100% if you just throw in a couple of extra dollars to just round it up a little bit. Because you're an existing investor, you've already got the go-ahead from the banks, so yeah, it's only a matter of time, okay? But that's the theoretical. Let's take a look at the actual. After months of internal emails and corporate reshuffling. Reshuffling? Am I a voice actor for Shadows? But no, reshuffling. Ubisoft Leamington has now publicly confirmed its permanent closure. The announcement came not through a high-profile press release on coordinated corporate messaging, but instead via a modest 2-part post on the studio's unverified X account, symbolizing how far Ubisoft's reach has fallen. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we will still be part of UK games development, but you can keep with our team, our UK team, and future developments by following UB Reflections. If you're local to Leamington, you still see your remaining team in and around Leamington and at local events. Thank you for your support. Yeah, that's wonderful, man. It's a soft and humble ending to a studio that contributed to major Ubisoft projects like Star Wars Outlaws. Okay, justifiably, they ended up getting shit canned. Far Cry 5, a game that I played a little bit of and was thoroughly bored by, but apparently, people like it. It just really seemed like more of the same Far Cry 4 that I played a long time ago, and it's like not really jazzed to play a game that has moderately better visuals, and that's not really that much. And a more contrived story. Oh, hey guys, look, all the white people are bad. Oh yeah, big scary religious cult. When did the game release? In the mid-2010s. Oh, interesting. Very, very unique story that you have right there. And then, of course, you worked on Skull and Bones. I mean, 1 for 3 if we're being completely honest. So yeah, getting shut down. People have been shut down for less, okay? Like you had Tango GameWorks get shut down by Microsoft by producing their biggest hit of 2024, or 2023 rather. But the writing has been on the wall ever since January, when Ubisoft revealed its sweeping plans to restructure across multiple European offices. Now the closure is complete, and it won't be the last. Back in Ubisoft, back in January, Ubisoft announced the elimination of 185 positions across the studios at Leamington, Dusseldorf, Stockholm, and Reflections in Newcastle. Leamington was singled out for full closure, while other offices were in fact scaled down. Yeah, because I know, right? Like everybody's going to shed a tear because, it's always so sad whenever somebody loses their job. But bro, if your work ends up manifesting in something like Star Wars Outlaws, I don't think being in the gaming industry is best suited to your skill set. Probably a little bit more accustomed and a little bit more comfortable by putting the fucking fries in the bag. The move was described at the time as part of a cost-cutting strategy to prioritize projects and ensure long-term stability. Yeah, long-term stability, like making sure that there's going to be enough bankers boxes to go around to the different offices to pack your shit and get the fuck out. But I mean, if you're still looking and you're working at one of these studios that are going to get closed by Ubisoft in the very near future, or by Tencent, if we're going a little bit further along in the time scale. I mean, you should probably look at becoming an influencer online, because that's about the only time that Ubisoft pays some employees, because Ubisoft shilled out $2.1 million. $2.1 million for idiots to play Shadows and say, oh, bro, it's really good, okay? And there's one, okay, that we all know specifically, okay? We got Hasan Pikers allegedly receiving $76,510 for 2 streams? What the fuck? The campaign reportedly generated 179.4 million views and 11.9 million sponsored views. Okay, with Twitch accounting for 55% of its budget, approximately $1.08 million. That was fantastic stuff. A really good return on investment right there. Other platforms such as YouTube and TikTok contributed to the remaining budget, though specific breakdowns for individual creators besides Hasan remain less detailed. While Ubisoft has not officially confirmed these figures, the numbers align with industry norms for the game of this magnitude. Marketing budgets for AAA titles often range from 20 to 50% of development cost, placing Shadow's total marketing spend potentially between $50 and $150 million. If accurate, the $2.1 million influencer budget represents a modest but targeted slice of that pie. So yeah, of the reported development budget of this game, somewhere in on and around $250 to $300 million, you go ahead and throw in another $150 million on that. So yeah, that $400 million mark that Assassin's Creed Shadows was pegged at, yeah, it's not looking all that insane in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, well, they'll go out there and they'll tout, and we still, at least at time of recording, haven't got an update on your player count, because we're going to be a long time away from hearing actual sales data. Yeah, a game that needed, oh god, somewhere in the realm of 7 to 10 million sales, okay, Monster Hunter Wilds numbers, in order to break even. Okay, that is something that Ubisoft, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago or something like that, at least at this point in time. It wouldn't have been that long ago, because this game is heading into its 3rd week of release, which is wild to think about. But it needed to be a grand slam, okay? It couldn't just simply be an infield single, okay? Which at this point in time, I think we can, or rather confirm, that it's not even that, okay? Like, this is a foul tip that goes straight into your crotch and you're not wearing a cup. This was a disaster, 1000%. And one of the easiest disasters to call since Snow White, if we're keeping it 100. But yeah, things end up getting worse, because the embarrassment doesn't stop with player counts, doesn't stop with the amount of money you're paying a communist who is a very good capitalist to shill a game, and ultimately that doesn't work. No. You have to deal with your shareholders and then suing your ass because you're doing such a poor job. Ubisoft shareholders launch a legal battle against the company, demand renegotiation with the Tencent deal. Oh shit. Ubisoft shareholders, including AJ Investments, they were also rabble-rousing a couple months back, as far as I can remember, and other minority shareholders announced that they have launched a legal battle against the company and are demanding a renegotiation of the recently announced deal with Tencent. And yeah, this isn't just, petty demands. They're seeking a very high level compensation. At the end of March, Ubisoft announced that it created a new subsidiary that would house Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six brands. Along with those IPs, their back catalogs, and new subsidiary would also become the new home for Ubisoft's development teams in Montreal, Quebec, Sherbrooke, Saguenay, Barcelona, and Sofia. You can see why Leamington ended up getting shit canned, and any IP they currently have in development. So yeah, that 25% of basically what's left of the company, yeah, it kind of seems a little bit misleading. The creation of the subsidiary was announced after the company made a deal with Chinese investor and developer Tencent, which would invest 1.16 billion euros into the subsidiary in exchange for just a meager 25%. Since the deal was announced, Ubisoft stock has fallen over 26%. It had hit a high of 14 euros, 48, not pence, not cents either, whence? Sure, on March 28th, but has since fallen to 10.65. Not great. Not a great look. Or 1059 if you're feeling a real nasty. Now the press release shared by Insider Gaming, AJ Investments, announced that it and a coalition of its shareholders are initiating legal proceedings in France. The company added it is demanding that a French court compel Ubisoft to convene an extraordinary general meeting so the shareholders can vote to have Ubisoft renegotiate the Tencent deal and distribute an extraordinary dividend. And it wants both Tencent and the Guillemot brothers are holding, to be barred from voting. Oh, fuck. Okay. Specifically, wants a 10-cent deal renegotiated because shareholders have no clarity how the deal that was announced last week will eventually benefit shareholders of Ubisoft. Yeah, because it just kind of happened and they just took the guts of the company and it's like, yeah, we're going to go work with Tencent. This will work out well for us. And the stock is totally tanked, independent of what is happening with the wider market right now. As for the distribution of the extraordinary dividend, it allows shareholders to get 23 euros per share in cash and allows them to avoid further asset sales or dilution that the claim would not value to shareholders. Finally, the company stated that the shareholders could choose on whether Ubisoft sell the core IPs to Tencent as a whole or sell the 25% stake in the subsidiary that was already announced. So it's a big claim and just another roadblock that Ubisoft is going to have to overcome. See, okay, all of this stuff could have just simply been avoided if they would have made one good game in the past couple of years, but no, they have failed to even reach a decent game. Okay, don't be dissuaded by the people saying that it's fine, Shadows is all right. It's ass. Same with Star Wars Outlaws. I've watched way too much gameplay on that to hear anybody's refrains that, it's like Far Cry in space. Shut up, man. That's a buggy disaster. And even if they fix it, you got to deal with that awful dialogue and that just, cringe performance by that absolute mongoloid Mam Solo. And can you even play Skull and Bones at this point in time? Because you sure as fuck can't play X-Defiant next month. That's getting shut down. Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown. I guess you can still get that. But what else? What else has Ubisoft done? Oh, I know. Kill a once great studio. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.